Namaste everyone, I'm your co-host Shravani ma'am. Welcome to your favorite learning channel. The topic for today's video is Introduction to Cell. So in today's video, we will first understand what is a cell. So to begin with it, we will see how did this word derive. So cell is derived, the word cell is actually derived from a Latin word, and this Latin word from which cell was derived is cellula. So cellula is the Latin word from which cell was derived. And what does this cellula mean? The word cellula means a little room. Okay, so the term cell was derived from the Latin word cellula, which means a little room. Okay, so what happens in a living world? All the organisms differ from one another, but all of the living organisms are made up of these cells. So cells in living organisms are complex living structures. So now let's see how can we define the term cell. So this cell, we can say that cell is the basic, fundamental and structural unit of living organism. Okay, so it is the basic unit of life. So all living beings are composed of this basic unit, that is the cell. Now there are many definitions for this term cell given by various biologists. We would look at one of the definitions. Okay, how would we define cell? So we can say that cell is a unit of biological activity. Okay, it is a unit of biological activity that is delimited, which is delimited by a semi-permeable. It is delimited by a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, and is capable of what? It is capable of self reproduction. Okay, self reproduction in a medium, and this medium should be free of other living systems. Okay, so this is one of the definitions of a cell, or in very simple terms we can say that cell is the basic, fundamental and structural unit of living organisms. Okay, so what we can do is we can compare the cells to bricks. So like the bricks are assembled to make a building, the cells are assembled to make the body of every organism. Okay, so now that we know that all the living organisms are composed of cells, we shall understand how, depending on the number of cells present in living organisms, they are classified into two types. One is the unicellular organism and the other is the multicellular organisms. So what are unicellular organisms now? The unicellular organisms. So the unicellular organisms are those organisms that contain only one cell, that is only a single cell, and these organisms can also be called as single celled organisms. For example, amoeba. Okay, So amoeba is a unicellular organism. So in unicellular organisms, as they have only one cell, this one cell is capable of carrying out all the basic processes of life. Okay. And now let's talk about the next category, that is the multicellular. The multicellular organisms. So what are multicellular organisms? These are those organisms that contain more than one cell. They contain more than one cell. For example, animals, even plants and human beings are multicellular organisms. So in multicellular organisms, as there are more number of cells, that is more than one cell, all these cells are specialized to perform specific functions in these organisms. Okay, so this was all about this cell. Now let's understand how did the discovery of cell take place. But before that, let's understand some more terms. Okay, so we can say, now that we are familiar with the term cell and unicellular and multicellular organisms, let's see what is the study of cell is called. So the study of cell and its structure, what is it called? This study is called cytology. So cytology is a branch of biology that deals with the study of cell and the structure of the cell. Alright. Then there is another term, okay, where what happens is the cell biology is another term. It is the study of all aspects of cells and their components. Okay. So what is cell biology? It is the study of all aspects. All aspects of what? All aspects of cells and their components. Which would include biochemistry, development and physiology. Okay, so this was all about cell, the study of cell and the study of all aspects of cells and their components. Okay, now moving on, we would discuss about the discovery of cell. Let's see how the cell was discovered. So that is discovery of cell. Okay, so the discovery of the cell was made by an English scientist by name. Who discovered the cell? He was an English scientist by the name Robert Hooke. In which year did he discover the cell? In the year 1665. Okay, so how did he discover the cell? So while examining a thin slice of cork under a primitive microscope, he saw that the cork resembled the structure of a honeycomb. So he was examining what? Cork cells. Cork cells under primitive microscope. Under primitive microscope, what did he find? He saw that cork cells resembled the structure of honeycomb consisting of many little compartments. Okay, he saw what? Honeycomb-like compartments. Alright. So And these box-like or honeycomb-like compartments were then called these box-like compartments were then called as cells by him, that is by Robert Hooke. Okay, so Hooke published his findings in his famous work that is called micrographia. So Hooke, what did he do? Hooke published his work. Where did he publish? He published his work in a famous. These works were published in the famous micrographia. Okay. So he demonstrated his work to scientists at Royal Society of London. However, for the next 150 years, the information about cell was very less, because at those times there were no advanced microscopes available. So it was only after the discovery of improved microscopes with higher magnification that the information about the structure and the functions of the cells became available. Alright? So let's now quickly revise the things that we have covered today. Okay, so today we understood about the introduction to cell. So we saw that cell is the term that was derived from a Latin word called cellula, which means a little room. Okay, now as we discussed that cells are present in all living organisms, and there are different scientists who gave different definitions of cells, but we can say that a cell is the basic fundamental structural and functional unit of living organisms. So one of the definition of cell is it is a unit of biological activity that is delimited by a semi-permeable membrane, and this unit is also capable of self-reproduction in a medium that is free of other living systems. Okay, simply we can say that cell is the basic unit of our life. Now, depending on how many cells are present in organisms, the organisms can be differentiated into two types, that is unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. So unicellular organisms are those which contain only one cell, that is single celled organisms, example amoeba. So in these organisms, this single cell is capable of carrying out all the basic functions that is required for survival. Then multicellular organisms are those organisms that contain more than one cell. For example, animals, plants, even human beings. So in these organisms, what happens is a specialized group of cells. So a group of cells are specialized for performing specific activities in the body. Then we understood about cytology. So what is cytology? It is the study of cell and its structure. Then we also understood what was cell biology. So cell biology involves the study of all aspects of cells and their components. Okay, and these components can include biochemistry, development and physiology. Then after that we also studied about the discovery of cell. Now we know that the cell was discovered by an English scientist by the name Robert Hooke in the year 1665. So when did he discover cell? While he was examining the cork cells under primitive microscope. He found honeycomb-like or box-like compartments, and then he named these box-like compartments as cells. Okay. Then Hooke also published his famous work in micrographia, and he demonstrated his work to scientists at Royal Society of London. But however, even after discovery of cells, for about 150 years, That is, the next 150 years, the information about the cell was very less because there were no advanced microscopes available during those times. So it was only after the discovery of improved microscopes with higher magnification that more information about the structure and the functions of the cells became available. Okay, so I hope you all would have got some great insights by watching today's video. Please do not forget to like and share the video. Till then, thank you for watching.